Shazam, issue 21, Josie Campbell writing with Dan McDaid on the art. And it's the final issue of this book, weirdly, which they never said final issue. It just wasn't in the solicits, and it's the sort of thing where it's easy to not notice that something's missing. So, yeah. It does make it weird in hindsight that they'd had like a weird fill-in for one issue right before the... Like, just have the last issue come out a month later. Who cares?
Maybe it wasn't ready.
Yeah, but why even bother with the... Like, just have this be issue 20. Yeah. Just make it wait a month. It's fine.
I guess, I don't know.
It's really strange. It's a decent enough, solid enough conclusion to what's going on, I think.
That's fine.
Yeah, it did the job of it's gonna make me miss certain aspects of this book, right? Like Mr. Dinosaur and the dynamics with Taki Tani and Hoppy and all that other stuff.
There is actually one thing in here that I really liked from a creative standpoint. And that is the idea that it kind of flips the whole like influence thing, where Freddy's now speaking inside what's his face's name?
Mr. Mind.
Yeah, Mr. Mind. Like, so the idea that it's flipped around and he's like sort of saying, "Oh no, you're worried. You're not that confident." And like, I don't know. I kind of like that as a little revolt. If anything, though, I was a little disappointed that it wasn't something Freddy was actively doing, and it was just like kind of like in there as like a sort of conscience that was left over.
I feel like as well, like, because we knew who it was the whole time, because of the lettering of just using like Freddy's box and colors, like I feel like it took away from the moment of like the reveal of what was happening a little bit. I don't know, like for me, because you knew the whole time. Oh, I like that.
I just wasn't thinking about it as something that was to be revealed. I thought the excitement came from like right away, like we can sort of tell what's happening, but. Yeah,
maybe.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, Bo has to do her whole "yes, I'm a villain," Billy, and Billy's aghast by it. Well, he's not, because he's got a phone magically taped to his mouth at the time. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I mean, like Mary, Hoppy brings Mary back from Venus, so that's all fine.
Hoppy looks pissed.
Oh yeah. Hoppy gets souped up in this. He gets his own little Shazam outfit at one point, just for the funds. But no, it's fun seeing all three of them work together, of course, and solve everything. It did kind of feel like, okay, we've got a lot of stuff to wrap up. I've only got one issue left to do it, and so here we go.
Yeah, that's the main thing I didn't like is, and I get it, it's by necessity, but there's so many threads here that ended up not being pulled. Yeah,
I wonder, honestly, like, obviously the way the story generally ends, I assume, was always going to be the case, but I wonder if it was like a little different because some stuff was going to be left hanging for the next arc, but because it's the now ending, it's like, oh shit, I have to just kind of quickly wrap up everything.
I don't know if anyone else agrees with this as well. Despite the extra month, it still feels like the art was a little bit rushed.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder. Well, no, because the art was the same artist last month as well, I think.
But this, no.
Oh, was it?
The artist. I don't think so.
Was it not Dan McDaid last month as well?
I don't think it was. Hold on, let me go back.
You can go check, but I think it was because I thought maybe the reason why it was delayed a month was so that Josie Campbell could rewrite her final issue, because whatever she wrote before.
Right, it was the same artist.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Yeah. Well, I would say this is. I'm not a big fan of McDaid, but this I feel is
in
not
that case.
Good.
In that case, I feel like this was probably a combination of she had to rewrite her final issue because. Of things, and he got the script late and just had less time to work on it because of that. Because it feels rushed. I was assuming.
Which is this weird thing where I don't really blame either of them for it. Like, it's kind of like the circumstances for both of them where it's like, oh shit, you have to rush a new ending that has to wrap up everything, even though you plan to let it go for another arc or two or whatever. And then he's like, oh, I've got less time, so I have to rush the art.
Like, Bo's missing her face on one of the pages. Like, there's nothing that could cause that shadow. Like,
Yeah. Because because this idea at the end, like after everything's wrapped up and they've beat the bad guys, and that's whatever. Like Billy goes to his mom and does a whole thing where it's like, hey, I have this new family, and shows her the photo book and all that. Like, I really like the idea of this scene, but it does feel very rushed here at the end, because it's like, oh, we have to wrap this up here and now because it's the last issue. Because she basically just sort of says, yeah, I accept that they're your parents. She calls them that and gives them a hug, and it's a whole thing. So, and then the next page, the very next page is the last page where they're all just flying off and saying Shazam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that book is the memory book is what kind of made me. I was like, oh man, Hoppy and Mr. Dinosaur and all the stuff with Freddy. Like, I was enjoying all those little pieces more than anything. So
yeah, honestly, I could have just had a sitcom style book of just the family living together with all this weird stuff in the house, and
there's no way that sells.
Yeah, no way it does, but
either did this.
Yeah,
it's
the sad part of this is that, like, I think Josie Campbell's a really solid writer. Now, I enjoyed her Mary Marvel mini. I enjoyed her time on this. But the sad part is that Shazam doesn't sell unless a big name's attached. So it sold well enough with Wade, but as soon as they took Wade off of it to do other stuff, it was like,
doomed.
It's like, okay, this will get another arc, maybe 2, and that'll be it.
And that's what happened with Johns, right? Once Johns wasn't on anymore, it got relaunched.
Yeah, it was the exact same thing.
So, you know, I will say I did love Georgia Savannah's face turn here, you know, to help out because they didn't want to be upstaged by her sister.
I mean, so I think it's a bit of a stretch calling it a face turn. I think it's
face turn in the moment, right?
Yeah, being heel against the other heel, which happens to benefit the heroes.
Yeah.
Anyway, Shazam ended. You know, those stuff. It was, you know, it's definitely one of the weaker issues that Campbell's done in the book, but I think it's kind of this circumstance thing for both her and the artist. Because, you know, I also never loved Dan McDaid's art, but this was definitely a bit sloppier.
Yeah.
So
for sure, it felt like Campbell really had a grip on these characters too, because they all felt very good.
Yeah.
But it's a shame.
Yeah. Hopefully Campbell can get put in something that won't just be doomed to die after 7-8 issues. Matt, what are you rating Shazam?
I'm gonna give this a 5.5.
All right, Connor, let me go.
I was going to give this a 6 and be more positive than I did on JSA. I think this is a very, very flawed issue. It's very rushed. The art's weaker, but I like the spirit of it, and it's more like it's very bastardized of what it wanted to be, clearly.
But it makes more sense given what the story was building to.
Yes, it's very rushed in both story and art. But it very much feels like this is the best we could do with the the amount of pages and time we had. So I feel for it a little bit. So a 6 in sympathy, probably a little bit.
Yeah, the 6 sounds about right for me to. I'll go with that.